Okay, hi guys. We're here again and we are discussing, is the customer always right? Do you agree?
No, I don't. I disagree to the fact that customer is always right. I don't think it's always that the customer is right because especially if I go to if I go to somewhere where I'm being provided the services, especially if I buy something and what humans I wouldn't say we as a human, but I personally sometimes will see things and like especially for a dress as a woman, I will say, oh, I want a skirt, look at it, I will buy it, and when I'll go home and I realize, oh no, this is not how I expected it to look. So then I'll come
there's a
home,
picture you created, it's not that.
and then I'll want to bring it back to return it, and I'll be like, and the reason I'll be like, oh, it's not nice, it's not something that look, but that is not really true. It is actually pretty, but the only problem is it's my mind that changed. So I personally believe that customer is not always right, because we as a customers will always try to mend things in a way that it works in our favor.
Okay, so I also do not agree to the customer always being right. Here in Ghana, there's this saying that the customer is always right. So customers come and misbehave in offices, in shops, because I have the higher power. I'm right. It's been conditioned in my mind that once someone is providing me a service or is providing a good to me, I have the upper hand to always misbehave because I am the customer. So people barge into people's shops, offices, yell on top of their voice because something didn't go as planned. Meanwhile, they could have actually come in a calmer way to have a discussion, to have the issue resolved. And so the customer is not always right. But then again, we've always been conditioned with the saying that the customer is always right, and so they end up misbehaving.
I agree with you, especially, but I feel like as you said in Ghana, but I feel like it's everywhere. I think it's all across the world that customers feel that they're always right, but it also depends where you are. Like it's probably in Ghana, obviously people come screaming and stuff, but in Canada, when customers come in, they at least come in. I will say, if you were to say in Ghana, the customer is not always right, and customers say, how many percent do you think if when they go in there, or if you were to guess, how many percent do you think when they go into services that they didn't like and start screaming? What would you say the percent is? Like majority or some?
Some.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing in Canada too. In a day, especially if you go in a let's just say in a shop or in a bank, and if you didn't like the service, you will be mad because you think you should get the world's number one best service. But the way they will act about it is very different as to what you will probably must have seen here, because they will be upset, but then they will be like, oh, let me speak to your manager, and that's common. But people around you will not really know that they're upset, but they're still upset and they're still trying to, because they want the best services. I feel like we humans feel that is because we feel entitled. We humans are very entitled as to, if I'm bringing my money, which is hard-earned money, you don't know what I went through to make that money and give you that money. She'll give me the best services, but yet for that business, that's the service to make money.
But in all honesty, in one particular sector of this country, and I'm going to talk about the public sector, that is government-owned businesses, sometimes if you don't shout, you're not going to get what you want.
And for me, for that, I think, why do you think that is the case over there though?
I think that the case is that a lot of government employees think that no one can fire me. And it's also because a lot of them are in that position because of whom they knew. And so I know this big person, you're not going to get rid of me from here. And so they are not putting in the efforts that they're supposed to put into the job, because the president is not going to come and fire me. because it's literally the president that has employed me, sort of, and so he can't come and fire me. So you have to scream. Let me give you a clear example. A week ago, we had light issues in our house. We went there 3 times. The issue wasn't resolved. We only got the issue resolved because my mom went there and then said that if they didn't come and resolve her issue, no one was going to go out of the office that day. And it was almost 5 p.m. At 5, everyone was closing. So until she said that no one was going to leave the premises until they had resolved her issue, no one was willing to come and resolve the issue for her. And it's a public sector. So that's something I'm saying, that usually in the public sector, sometimes if you don't scream, if you don't act funny, no one is moved, no one is bothered to resolve your issue. Sometimes they expect you to even threaten them that you know there's higher authority before they get things done for you. If not, you're not getting the service.
And I think in this case, it's not the customer that is like wrong in this part. It's the services that are wrong, because now it is what they are like the government sector, as you said, they feel like the president has themselves hired them and no one's going to get them fired. So at this point, they feel privileged. Does this happen in other countries? Absolutely, it does happen as well. But if the fact that I live in Canada, and if my light's not working, I'm not going to go to the office. I'm just going to pick a call and make a call, right?
I mean, the phone actually barely goes through, and then when you get someone to pick up, you're going to be on the line for so long. And it's not toll free, actually. So it's your credit running, and it's sad that actually sometimes someone picks up and the person is clueless.
So that's why now over here, because of the kind of services they're receiving, the customer, when that comes in, because they're receiving poor services, they now feel that they are right because they're not being treated properly. And that is why now they think that the customer is always right. Because, if we are going into it at that context, if you look at from that context, when they're going to receive services and they're not getting the services, so they're screaming and asking for that services, well, they are right at that point, right? So if you're talking at that, but if you go to a different country, like a Western country, right, the customer will be sometimes upset. There might be some crazy ones that will be, but then if someone's electricity is not working, all they do have to do is call the office. So call office, they'll be like, okay, the reason is because your line's broken, we're going to come fix it. Or you made a payment, the payment didn't go through, and you'll be like, oh, let me make the payment anyway. The fact that they received the service, they won't think, like, they won't be upset about it. So if they're not upset, they won't feel they're right.
And so you're sort of promised a resolution within 24 to 48 hours. But then that's not the case here. But then again, I mean, the customer is not always right.
Right, yeah. And I feel like the customer, we as customers, we are always right if we don't get the service that we receive. And it always comes to the fact that I am entitled to receive that service. And the fact that I'm entitled to receive that service, I am right. And the day we don't receive that service, we're like, I was right, you didn't do that for me. So you see now what has happened, right? So that is why the customers feels they're always right.
Then again, there's a statement people make: if I don't patronize the service, you're not getting paid. Like, I have to say it in true, like, if I don't come here, you're not getting paid. And so I think a lot of people, even like customers, even though they are not right, they stand on that statement to misbehave.
But then they need a reminder, because if wherever they work, if they don't go there, they won't get this, won't get paid in order to come and receive the services. So as I was saying, we as a human being, like I personally feel, I as a human being always think about what works in my favor. And if it works in my favor, then it is right for the rest of the world. So if I'm coming there, I've worked all day from 9 to 5, and I'm coming there to for you to buy something and the line is not moving, I am entitled to so I am right for screaming at you that move ahead, I want to go home. But then they're not understanding everyone else is also tired. So I guess it's just a cycle of how it works, and it will depend who you are talking or pitching about it to understand. But personally, I don't feel like customer is always right, because if you don't understand the perspective, then they're right. But most of the time we change our minds.
Dear customers, you are not always right. Stop screaming, stop being a Karen, stop being whatever. You're not always right. Thank you.